All right, everyone, welcome to some more StarCraft Underground. It's time for some more StarCraft. We've got StarCraft Brood War. We have the losers bracket finals for our #1 Brood War tournament. We kind of took a break from #1 Brood War for a while. The bracket was moving a little bit slow. Went to Brood War #3. But Brood War #1 has actually concluded, so we're going to go ahead and knock out this loser bracket semifinal, and we'll have the finals uploaded very shortly as well. So the two players that we have going against each other right now in this best of 3 series is I Am So Cool down here in the bottom right is our blue Protoss, and Styx up here in the top right as our red Zerg. And the map they're going to be playing on right now is Polypoid. So 4-player map, corner positions, pretty standard, natural base, nothing crazy on the ramp, and a nice narrow kind of like choke point right here leading into the base. And then the easier third to get is a mineral only third. So that's kind of what we're working on. And we'll go ahead and see what these players opt to do. And, you know, in the beginning of these matches, when there's always not much happening, I do like to plug StarCraft Underground, right? Like, if you're watching this and you're not a part of it, I don't know what you're waiting for. It's been growing really rapidly. It's got Brood War and StarCraft 2 tournaments regularly hosted. In every match, you have a week to schedule with your opponent. And you can be in multiple brackets at once, right? So Styx and I Am So Cool do participate in multiple Brood War brackets, and I think even a StarCraft 2 bracket as well. Even though I think that was Styx, and I think he did it by accident and still performed really well. But anyway, that's kind of the plug there. Right now we do have scouting by our Protoss hero here, I Am So Cool, heading over to the bottom left, and then it does look like he might be going to check cross position after that. Maybe not, though. Maybe he's going straight to the top right now. It does look like he's going to be heading up to the top left. So he'll likely probably run into this Overlord and know before he even gets to the top right where his Zerg opponent is. And Styx has built a spawning pool and has already taken an expansion here at the natural base. And we haven't seen a drone come out, though, to start scouting yet for Styx, opting to utilize these Overlords primarily right now. So as expected, I do believe that I Am So Cool's probe did run into that Overlord, and he is opting to send this Zealot straight up to the top right. But there is 4 Zerglings already here waiting. We do see the drone finally come out now to start scouting for Styx. Now, the Zealot is making its way up here, and it might get some done, maybe not a ton, right? It might kill a couple Zerglings. We'll have to see how kind of the micro goes here for the Zealot, but he does opt to kind of get the Zealot out of the way for now, and we do see a second one coming up, right? So 2 Zealots against this 4 Zergling kind of defense will do good work. Now the Zealot is going to come up here and check this third base, which is actually really good play here from I Am So Cool. So he's getting an early identification there. Tucking that Zealot in behind those minerals is going to give it so much less surface area for these Zerglings to try to fight it. And Styx is opting to kind of, bounce these Zerglings back and get the weak ones out of the way so that he can chip away at this Zealot. Oof. This is definitely a feel-bad moment for Styx. Both these remaining Zerglings are super low on health, and that Zealot's going to be there for a minute. Now, there was another Zealot here, but it did get taken out by some Zerglings. Another Zealot coming up, and it does look like I'm So Cool just has kind of a nice trickle of Zealots heading straight up, has opted to build a forge and an expansion, and finally getting some gas up. So it'll be a minute until we see any type of Dragoons or anything, but honestly, these Zealots are putting in the work. This Zealot's still up here, low on health, but so are the Zerglings that are around, and he's going to get another Zergling for its trouble. 2 Zealots about to meet up with these Zerglings just outside the Zerg player's natural. And then these 2 coming down from the third, as that's where I Am So Cool seems to be kind of putting his attention. Still, more and more Zealots. We do have a cannon being built, and that's kind of the main purpose here of this forge. Now, Cybernetics Core is going down, and with that, we will see kind of a tech up from our Protoss player. Start getting those Dragoons, start looking towards additional unit types that they can add to the battlefield. And for our Zerg, still just focusing on making enough Zerglings to keep these Zealots at bay, which, if the Protoss player, I'm so cool building these zealots and just enforcing the reaction of making all these lings is really detrimental to Styx being able to get that drone count up, right? So having to balance the larva and where the larvae are being spent has kept Styx at a 13 drone economy, which is a bit rough. And with that cannon, that zealot held off all of those zerglings, many of them going down, and Styx sitting with a little bit of a small army. And you can see here, right, like more larvae being used for zerglings as opposed to for drones. So we'll see how that ends up panning out. For our Protoss, we do have a Stargate going down. Likely to see some Corsairs being popped out to go Overlord hunting. And I do think Styx is going to need a little bit more than just a trail of zerglings to get past these cannons and these two zealots that really do plug this hole up really well. So wouldn't be surprised if we saw, yeah, generally the choice is, you know, Mutalisks or Hydra into Lurker, and it does look like we have the Hydralisk tech being generated by our Zerg player, and a transition into drones, which is nice. Right now, I do think I Am So Cool does have a lead, getting the Citadel of Adun down. And Hydralisks are about to pop. 5 in production right now with the speed upgrade almost complete, now complete. So now we've got 5 fast Hydralisks. We have the range upgrade being researched by Styx. And depending if he gets that Hydralisk count high enough, he will be able to potentially break this and also protect his Overlords, right? So the Corsair's out. It's going to start picking off Overlords. Haven't seen the Overlord production kind of spike up yet. There it is. Okay, so there's the replacement Overlord from Styx. And with that, we'll watch this Overlord go down, and I'll take a sip of my drink. Pops like a balloon. Hydralisk and Zergling. Decent sized army, but that Overlord kill did supply block Styx, which is a little bit frustrating. But as is the life of a Zerg player facing Corsairs. Alright, we do see the move out here coming from Styx. The Hydralisks have made their appearance known to I Am So Cool. Empowering straight through those zealots, about to attempt this this bust, I think, but the Corsairs are on the move, right? The Corsairs are heading north. They are going to start looking for some Overlords. Now, getting these Hydralisks up here nice and tight actually did limit the movement of the zealots out of this gap. Took out one cannon, didn't take out the other. The zealots are down. Okay, so here's bust time. Can he get this cannon down, and can he move in? Okay, cannon is down. If he gets this pylon, the rest will go down as well, but this is a lot of zealots. The probes have been pulled, and I Am So Cool is doing everything he can to buy time for all of these cannons to come up. And once these cannons are made, I don't think that this is going to be a sufficient amount of army. Now, the Corsairs did come up here. I didn't happen to notice if they popped any Overlords, but we are still supply blocked for our Zerg player. Right, we're sitting at 46 to 43, and 2 Overlords are being produced right now. Now, unfortunately, these Hydralisks getting in range of several cannons at once to get that one, but they did knock it down. And you know what? With this and the range, these Hydralisks are going to be able to bust this forge, bust this gateway. We'll have to see if another forge comes up. If not, then cannon production is going to be coming to a halt, right? So this will be kind of what the Protoss player is stuck with. And if we can kill this forge and get this pylon... Oh, no, I'm sorry. There is another pylon. Man, I was really like hyper-focused on this one pylon thinking, wow, that is the key to the castle. But no, there are others. And now we have DTs out. And I like the DT play because the Corsairs are keeping the Overlords out of the way, right? And so the Overlord will need to group up with these Hydralisks so that the Hydralisks can protect the Overlord from the Corsairs, and the Overlord can provide the vision needed to knock out this DT, right? So we have the Overlord coming down here, but we have the Corsairs caught out of position, not paying attention, microing the DT, and 2 of them, no, just one. One of them goes down, one of them barely alive, are forced to the side of the map. All right, this has turned into a nice scrappy game. 3 bases up. Okay, I thought that might have been a drone for a potential 4th for our Zerg player. DT is going to start sharking around, looking to get some drone kills at some of these additional bases. Now, this is kind of that mutual supporting relationship between the Overlords and the Hydralisks I was talking about, right? Overlords can help provide that vision for the DTs, and the Hydralisks will knock these Corsairs out of the sky. A few standing guard here with an Overlord is more than enough to shut down anything that I Am So Cool has on the map at the moment. Yeah, that DT's not long for this world, or at least it will be pushed away. Evolution Chamber coming down, and we are seeing Layer Tech. Boom, Layer. Now, on the flip side, we are starting to get Storm upgraded and High Templar on the field for I Am So Cool. And if there's one thing that we've seen in this bracket that's been extremely effective so far, it has been large storms. And, you know, I think that's at any level of play, right? Like, the Protoss Storm is just so gross. And I may be biased, but I absolutely hate it. This is a very, very strong defense sitting here. But the Protoss is still kind of stuck to these bases, right? These two bases. And so with that strong defense, that turtley kind of behavior does give a lot of map control to our Zerg player. And I think even though I Am So Cool had a really early lead, I definitely don't think he's out of this match. Now, this DT might get a lot of damage, though. Sitting here at 6 kills and counting. And the Overlords are out of position, right? Now, the Overlords can see it, but the Hydralisk pathing was getting kind of funky and in the way there. Looks like a DT was going to town down here on this hatchery. Oh, no! His own Hydralisks are attacking it. That might have been a misclick. And I've definitely been guilty of that. 3 hatcheries up here at the 3rd. I feel like I'm hearing shots. Okay, yeah, it does look like down here, Protoss player is knocking out some of these pylons, opening up kind of a walkway here. So the units can walk through much easier. And this is quite a large Zealot High Templar army. Now, one thing I'm not seeing, but is about to pop up, right, is that observatory. And I think this is very well timed because this army is great. It's very tough. It's very tanky. The storms are going to be really effective. It's going to be tough to snipe these with the Zealot legs and the speed in which these are going to be able to close the distance once that's researched. But the one thing that's missing is detection, right? And once lurkers hit the field, it's going to make mincemeat of this army unless there's an observer present. So, good job from Zerg player keeping the Protoss player kind of contained. And this definitely looks like, you know, an army that's main intention here, like short-term mission, is to get this base up. And we also see Dragoons making the field as well. And that's part of the reason why I'm So Cool had to break down this wall so these Dragoons can walk through. You can still see, right, even with this pylon taking up the space that it is at the bottom of the ramp, it's still kind of a pain in the butt for the units to get through. You gotta love Brood War. Brood War pathing is a thing of beauty, said no one ever. Alright, we're seeing a large movement of Zealots coming out on the map. Now, where I'm curious is if he's going to push straight here to the natural, or if he's going to focus on this 3rd base, or if he thinks that maybe there's a 4th head hanging out here up in the top left. Now, this attack right here does seem to be doing, or it seems to be forcing a reaction of getting the whole army from this 3rd mostly pushed down as well. But this army is actually sharking around for a 4th. So the Zergling might end up seeing it. Yeah, the Zergling's going to see these Zealots running around. And we'll see if this turns back or if Styx is just going to push in and try to get a kill here on one of these bases. Okay, so the Zealots and Hydralisks are duking it out. Brought an Overlord. Good thinking in case there's more DTs. Now the Storms, right? Storms are just massacring Hydralisks left and right. And one thing that I don't know if Styx is ready for is this potential flank from more Zealots that are going to get up in the face. But as we were talking, right, like these lurkers just do so much damage, but there is an observer and he can see them. And I'm So Cool is getting a ton of damage here. Between the storms and the observer being able to expose those lurkers, the Zerg army is just getting ran over at the moment, and still a ton of Zealots here to tank and get in the face of the Hydralisks and the Dragoons there to provide some range support. So right now, I feel that I'm So Cool has done a good job of securing that third base, and now expanding to a fourth down here at the 6 o'clock. Now more Hydralisks are showing up, and they're making quick work of some of these Zealot stragglers, even getting some shots here on the Dragoon, and we'll see if there's another engagement. I think that this is going to be a setup engagement for a big storm right here, if I were to guess, and then moving in with these Zealots to start knocking out these Lurkers. One Lurker down, 2 more still standing. Are there any more storms left? Definitely plenty of energy for storms, and that's one way to take care of Lurkers. Even if the Observer's not in range, you see where those spines are coming from, you can knock it down. And now both armies have been hit pretty hard, but you'll see the supply difference, and the Protoss is sitting at a pretty good and healthy 62 worker count and 162 supply, right? Most of that being Zealots. Now the Dragoon transition is happening, well, not really even transition, but like the additional mixture of Dragoons, Corsairs, High Templars, Zealots is creating a rather sophisticated army for the Protoss, where right now Styx is primarily mass Hydralisks, and I think, you know, I don't know if the gas is hurting. We have, you know, just 3 gas going right now, but I definitely think the Zerg player would benefit from having another, at least going for this 4th base here, about to get pure mineral base up, and also another hatchery for increased production. Another evolution chamber going down, a couple Sunkens about to be made, and a Queen's Nest. Okay, so we are seeing the Queen's Nest get generated. We are seeing kind of a tech up play from our Zerg, but is Styx going to survive this push? We have 1 Lurker on the field right here, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of additional Lurkers to help bolster this defense. I do see the eggs. We have 3 more hatching here momentarily, and some of these are actually going to be spore colonies. So curious to see if that's primarily for detection or if there's a concern about some air coming in. All right, so the fight has started. The Zealots are getting up in the face. The Dragoons are shooting a lot of these Hydralisks down. The storm was good, not catastrophic, but it was definitely effective. And now the Sunkens are in play, adding some DPS to the mix. Now this storm was really big. That got a bunch of Hydralisks. The Zealots are also getting in there. And I like the spread on these Sunkens, right? Really forcing the Zealots to kind of run all over the place. And right now, the Protoss army is looking really effective. I also really like, there was a Dark Templar. Yeah, there's one that was mixed in there. Did go down. And this might be a little bit too much for our Zerg. Very powerful push by I'm So Cool. Oh, man, popping eggs with storms. This hatchery at least is going to go down. And Styx does throw in the towel. All right, so phenomenal game 1. That is going to be 1-0 for I Am So Cool. And let's go ahead and check out game number 2 in this series. All right. Great game. Go to game 2s. I Am So Cool. Styx, Dominator. Awesome. Here we go. So Dominator, I mean, we've seen these maps a lot, right, as we've gone through this series. Dominator is a cool one in the sense that it is a 3-player map, right? So we have Styx, our red Zerg, up here in the top left, or the 11 o'clock position. And then over here at the 3 o'clock position would be the other spawn that is not taken at the moment. And then down here at the 7, that's where I'm So Cool, our Protoss, who's coming off of a first match win against Styx, will be spawning. And so, just a reminder, the winner of this match will make it to the finals. Or I guess the winner of this series. And the loser will be out. Now, the cool thing about this tournament is that whoever makes it to the finals, right, the top 2 in the bracket get to level up into a higher exclusive bracket for only people that have come in the top 2 of these initial brackets. And so this being Brood War number 1, right? The first tournament that we ever started with StarCraft Underground, you know, either I'm So Cool or Styx, they're both fighting for their opportunity to get titled, shed their noob title from the StarCraft Underground Discord and be granted access to higher level play. So pretty exciting stuff. Internal ladder, that's the only kind of like prize that you get from this other than just bragging rights. But right now we are seeing I'm So Cool go with a center-built gateway. And we also have Styx's Overlord going in the correct direction. right? So I think a couple things that we may see here, right, is I'm wondering on the timing, but Styx is going to send the Overlord, wondering if the Overlord's going to be spotted here. I don't think it will, but the Overlord's going to see that there's nothing here at the wall, right? And so his initial thought might be, okay, maybe it's the wrong base, maybe he's over at the 3 o'clock, especially with this scouting pattern that's about to come in. When he gets to the base, what I don't know is if that will be enough time to react, knowing that there's nothing here. Where are the gateways? So we have one pylon going down, and we'll see if the Overlord can get a good enough scout early on to identify what's happening. Also, right off the bat, I Am So Cool does identify where Styx is spawned and is doing a great job of microing this probe to get in the way of this drone and the expansion that is being attempted to be put down, right? So the Zerglings that come in, they're probably going to clean this up. Okay, one's going to break off, get this probe out of the way so that hatchery can get started. But we are about to see some very aggressive Zealot play, and the distance is so short. See, the Overlord didn't see anything at the choke. Doesn't see any Protoss over here, so the Zerglings are going to the wrong base. And they've all bypassed the middle gateway. This is a great build choice by I Am So Cool. Oh my gosh. The Zealot gets right in there. There's nothing to defend. The Zerglings are going to run and see that they went to the wrong spot. And I'm sure Styx is just freaking out. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw this Overlord start moving again. Any moment. Maybe not. Okay. Anyway, Zealot's coming in. This is probably the main focus for I Am So Cool at the moment. Wow. These Zealots doing so much damage. But the Zerglings, they're about to crack into a completely undefended base as well. This is going to be a very scrappy game, and I wouldn't be shocked if it is done very quickly. I didn't look. I try not to look at the replay time for like my own like spoiler, right? But these Zerglings are gonna just start smashing all these probes. There is a sunken here. There are Zerglings here. There's 7 drones left for Styx. And these Zealots are going to start pecking away at this hatchery. And the hatchery is probably going to go down, but all these probes are going to die. Like, there's nothing here. And there's nothing being sent back either. This is clearly just a race to the end. Now, what Styx is being careful about, very, very intelligently, is getting too close to these probes, and the probes all stacking up on a mineral patch, and then hitting one, right? With like 10 different probes all at once. Anyway, I'm So Cool throws in the towel. GG. And that was game number 2. Let's go ahead and go into game number 3, the last game of this series. That was cool, though. We don't see a lot of, you know, like cheesy-ish builds so far in a lot of the maps that we've that I've casted for this. So that was a fun one. All right, now Death Valley. Death Valley being the crazy map of the series. And it is the 3rd map in this. So, you know, the first 2, what was it? It was Polypoid, Dominator, very standard maps. Maps that everyone knows. They generally make for some really standard play with opportunities for cheese, like we just saw. Whoops, sorry. Mouse is on the side of the screen. But Death Valley is absolutely just bonkers, right? And I've already talked about it a little bit, but I just love this map. It is so cool. You've got these assimilators that are destroyable, so that, you know, you can block passage through this main ramp to the natural. You've got these minerals that open up to another opportunity, generally the 3rd base. This isn't often taken as the first one from what I've noticed. And then you just have these, you know, mobility restricting middle ground right here that splits the map into the top right portion and then the bottom left portion. And the bottom left being where most of the expansions are, but the top right being where most of the early aggression can come from, right? And so one of the things that we see on this map a lot is a lot of utilization from air units. So far from Styx, we've been seeing the Lurker play, and then game 2 we saw, you know, just the heavy Zergling play. I think that we will likely probably, you know, early Zergling aggression can be helpful, but I think if we were to pick between like Lurker and Muta play, we're probably going to see some Mutalisk play. And I also think that, you know, pending any type of rush or something, we're likely to see some heavy Corsair play again from I'm So Cool. Also, one of the big defining features of this map is it's a 2-player map. So you know exactly where your opponent is at. So there's no scouting for position. And that oftentimes opens up a lot of opportunities for some attempts at an early finish, or cheese, if you will. So Gateway and Pylon walling off here at the choke to the natural. Spawning pool going down before Hatchery. Hatchery about to be started. There it is. I think that's another good moment for a sip on my drink. Which is the best way to watch StarCraft. With a drink in hand. Now, the probe is seeing kind of like a standard build from Styx. Styx is generally opened with the same thing. We'll see the 6 Zerglings. The Zerglings will kill these, apply some early pressure. When it comes to scouting for these Overlords, the Overlords are going to be pretty helpful in the sense that they'll be able to scout kind of that mineral patch that I saw. And they'll be able to park over there at kind of the lower end of the Protoss base to see if they ever take that additional, what did I call it? The like natural third base. Which is pretty important to know when your opponent is breaking into the bottom portion of the map. And I don't know if they're favored or not, but Terran has a lot of play on this map as well. Some really cool things you can do with like floating buildings, things you can do with siege tanks. And we did see, we kind of missed it actually, but there's a way to glitch workers through these mineral patches. And Styx must have done that to get a drone down here and started. Now the Zerglings are coming up here. They're applying some pressure. They're probably going to pick off this Zealot. Ooh, good micro by I'm So Cool there. Almost got pinned up against the gateway. And we're going to use a forge here for I'm So Cool to just complete this wall off, get it Zergling proof. I don't think that's a gap. That might be a gap. Brood War walls are weird. Zergling chasing a probe all over the place. Or Zerglings running up here. Yeah, this Zealot's going to die. Maybe. What is it, like Caster's Curse? This isn't even live. Wow, okay, so I guess there's a gap right there. And a gap right there. Okay, so not a complete full wall off. But definitely something you can plug the gap with very quickly with either probes or Zealots. Now 3 Zealots, that's quite a... that packs a wall up. These Zerglings, it's not quite enough. Third base almost done for Styx. A lot more probes going up in relation... I'm sorry, drones going up in relation to probes this game. So definitely not diving into the Zerglings as heavily as we saw in kind of like game 1. And we see... I think this is an attempt of a worker glitch. Which I don't even know how to do. Something to do with like trying to mine and then like putting something there and then stop mining. And then the worker has to like find a path and so then like you click it through. So I don't actually know how complicated it is, but I know people do it all the time, even in these brackets. But it looked like that might have been an attempt. A probe took 8 minerals from that middle one. Each one has 48. So might just mine through if they can't get through. That's hilarious. Actually popped the Zealot through. I don't know if that was intentional, but it might be a problem. Right? There's nothing down here, but Styx is mining these minerals, and I like that he's mining it from this side as it's so much closer to this hatchery, right? So it will get mined much quicker than, like, say, a drone mining it from this hatchery. Like, the path is just way too long. Here comes the Zealot. Zealot's going to get some damage in. Now, this is almost mined out. Okay, now the Zealot has been seen. Okay. I don't know where the heck these drones are all going. Looks like they're trying to get here. And the Zealot's going to start getting some kills. It's already got 1. And we're seeing all the Zerglings come back. Because to be fair, I don't think Styx knows if there's like a gateway out here. Maybe a probe was snuck through the mineral line and set up a pylon somewhere. But the Zerglings will clean that up. The Overlord's going to start poking around, snooping and pooping, seeing if there's some sort of proxy. These Zealots are going to come down and try to get a kill. Sunken is... oh no, it's a hatchery. Hatchery is being built. Not enough Zerglings here. Gonna try to preserve those and get the rest of them up from the third base. And this looks like too many Zealots. Drones are being pulled to add some DPS to this. A couple of these Zealots about to go down. We'll see how these get microed by I'm So Cool. 4 Zealots remain, 2 of which are really banged up though. With some clever target firing, these could get knocked out. So 2 go down. 1 almost dead, 1 decent health. No more coming, but the Corsairs are out, right? So that actually might have been the main reason why this Overlord started moving, was to get away from any type of Corsair pressure. And these Zealots will get cleaned up, but did a decent amount of damage, right? Like this one's sitting with 7 kills. Definitely got some worker damage. Sitting at 28 drones to 43 probes. And the Corsairs are on the prowl. Not going too far, though. It does seem like maybe the Zealot's being microed here. It's going to die, though. It's dead. Another hatchery going down. So Styx definitely opting for a heavy production capacity, right? Instead of taking like a 4th base, we're just plopping down these macro hatches. We do have the layer. We do have Hydralisk speed. Overlord movement, which is a must when you're trying to run away from all these Corsairs. Zealots plugging holes, cannons. This looks very, very similar to our game 1. The biggest difference being that this is a crazy map. Evolution chamber going down. Also, I recognize that I say going down a lot. That's okay. I'll work on my vocabulary. Okay, things are slowing down a little bit. Now, for Protoss, obviously we have the Stargate up, but we also have Storm being researched and a Dark Templar being made. The Corsair Dark Templar combo is just so frustrating. Corsairs run around, they schwack all your Overlords. You know, I predicted Mutalisks, but I was definitely wrong. Does look like we're going more Hydralisk again. Alright. Right now we're just seeing both sides kind of power up. Styx having to recover from the Corsairs killing a bunch of Overlords. 4 Corsairs. Dark Templar, which it looks like may have been seen by the Zerglings, which may be why they're reacting in such a way. Sunken Crete. We'll see if this becomes a spore colony. Probably just a sunken colony. Yeah, just a sunken. Sunken here. Gearing up for some defense. Recognizing that DTs and Corsairs are around and on the map. And it does look like I'm So Cool is starting to open up the pathway to getting their 3rd base as well. Now this Overlord hasn't been sniped by Corsairs, so it's going to be able to poke in here periodically and see when that base is up. And to also see if the mineral patches are gone. Because that gives a second avenue of attack, right? Because I'm So Cool has this huge fortification here. This could be the primary route that the Zerg starts taking to start getting some damage in. Now, it does look like we have a pylon going down here, so this may become like a clone of this one, right? Like several cannons, etc. We'll have to see. Another hatchery going down. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6 hatch. And starting to drone pretty heavily. Oh, we've got a move out going here. Now the DT's seeing it all. I don't know if the DT was seen by the Overlord. But plenty of Overlords and Sunkens back here. The DT is not going to get any damage done at the natural. But we'll see if these Hydralisks can get any damage done. Not seeing where the Lurkers are. I know there's Lurkers on the map somewhere. I thought. Oh, I think we just have it being researched right now. Okay, big Zealot push. Only a few Hydralisks here and a Sunken. This could be a very juicy target. Oh, and this whole army seems to be coming back. Or at least fighting that DT. Okay, the Zealots are pushing in here. Hydralisk in a pretty good spot with kind of how this SimCity is going, right? Like, these Zealots cannot get to this Sunken, and the Sunken is doing so much damage. Now, it might likely go down, but I did a good amount of damage before doing so. Plenty of Hydralisks up here on the ramp, heading down into the natural. This is going to clean up these Zealots, but the Zealots are, you know, now pushing into a lot of the drones and getting some kills there. Now up here we have Corsairs running amok, just trying to kill as many Overlords as possible. 0 kills, 3 kills, and 1 kill. So this little pack has killed at least 4. We know that there was a 4th Corsair that the Hydralisk must have shot down. And here come Lurkers. So a big batch of Lurkers, right? Now this third base is up for I'm So Cool. And he's trying to make it as defensive as the other one. Now, there's still an opening here. This is only 3 cannons, only 1 pylon powering them. But the difference here is the next engagement, we're going to start seeing some storms. Now, in Game 1, we saw storms do a great amount of damage. A huge effect. And also, just like Game 1, the observer timing is right on time. So, the observers are going to be on the map and able to assist against the lurker play. Look how pretty this SimCity is as well. Just a whole line of cannons. Very tough to come at an angle and limit the amount of cannon shots that are being shot at your army at a time. That's a lot of High Templar. And not many, you know, like, I think what this next engagement's going to come down to is, can they be sniped before the storms do too much damage? And can the lurkers be pre-positioned in a way where they're not surprised and unburrowed when this attack? Oh my gosh, he's loading up. I was sitting here wondering, where are all the Hydralisks? He's loading up for a huge drop. This army's coming right in, though. This drop is not going to be ready in time. I wonder if he's going to just drop to defend, or if he's just going to throw this forward at the base. I think right now he actually needs to be on the defensive. Oh my gosh. This is ballsy too. This is really ballsy considering that there's no Mutalisk or Scourge support that I've seen. And there's still Corsairs on the map. Like, Corsairs could just start shooting down your drop lords. Very ballsy play. And look at this humongo army that's about to come in. Oh gosh, the Zerg army's running right into it. He's going to have to retreat here. Now, we'll see where the dropper lords go. It looks like he's just going to push with them. He's just going to send them across the map. Now, it does look like they might be seen. We'll see what our Protoss player does. Does he go back to defend? Does he just push and try to go for the kill? Does he just try to sit here and contain? Oh my goodness, and these overlords are just going right down the seam. Now, what's at home? Okay, a shuttle with DTs. We're going to have drops just pass in the night. Oh my gosh, do they even see each other? Okay, shuttle and overlords saw each other very briefly, but it could have just seen 1 or 2 overlords, and that's just looks like scouting. Cannon sees them as well. And we have the huge push here, right? Storm's going down. Oh, this is going to be tricky to commentate. But these lurkers are going to go down. Observer shows up just in time. But this is going to be a pretty big army. And right now, that's where the microing is happening, right? Like, the Protoss player, he's stopped his push. Now, storms are going to go down. This is going to do a good amount of damage to these lurkers, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. There's only a couple High Templars here, and they're getting sniped by the Hydralisk. This could be game-ending. Is Styx going to be the one to move forward? Oh my gosh! And I'm So Cool is bringing back his whole army. I feel like if he had just pushed, and he has the DTs here, he could have just wrecked everything that was here for the Zerg. Not to say he's still not kind of doing that. There's no overlords here. They're all on the drop. And so this DT already has 7 kills, but the Zerg up here is overwhelming the main base. And the production from I'm So Cool. Right now, I still have that Dark Templar highlighted here at the bottom and selected. It's at 12 kills, 13 kills. Insane. You know, warp blades, you know, ground weapons +3 just finished. Now, taking this fight here on the ramp is so tough for the Protoss. There's so many lurkers here. So much damage. You can look at the supplies, though. Right now, Protoss still up at 134. still has these bases, but these lurkers are such a pain in the butt, but they will eventually get cleaned up by these storms. These overlords are chilling. I don't know. Oh my gosh. Styx has... I love this, DT. How are we doing? 19 kills. Hell yeah, DT. Get it. Now, okay, we have a dual-pronged attack, a huge Hydra bus. Where did this army come from? This is that production we were talking about with those 6 hatchery production all coming into play. And there's only so many observers, right? How's he going to spread them? Huge bus going here. Is there stuff in here? No, there's not. I'm so cool, GG's. Holy cow, Styx takes it in an overwhelming fashion there at the end. Holy cow. Now, I want to rewind just very briefly because, I guess not that much. This army right here, I'm not entirely sure, but I really do feel like after this kind of like blunder, so to speak, that this Protoss army might have been able to just push through. Potentially killing all of the buildings before that giant army could have been made. Look at this prep. This is so micro-intensive. Wow, that was a great game 3. A great way to end the series. And congratulations to both players. Right, I'm so cool and Styx put on a great show. Styx will be going to the finals. I don't remember who he'll be facing off against. You'll just have to watch the next video and find out. All right, GG's. And once again, if you're not a part of StarCraft Underground, give it a go. And maybe you can play against Styx or I Am So Cool in an awesome game of Brood War. And you don't even have to be as good as them, right? Even if you're a newbie to the game, all levels, everyone's welcome. Thanks for watching. See you next time.